I was fascinated with the story of Pancho Barnes. And so when I was first hired as an archaeologist and a historian at Edwards, one of the first places that I asked to be sent to was Pancho's ranch.
My name is Bob Weatherwax. My father is Red Weatherwax. We're the owners and trainers of all the Lassies who played throughout TV and the movies.
Today was special because Bob Weatherwax gave us a view from the eyes of a young boy. And a lot of people don't realize that children went to Pancho's and had just as much fun as the adults, only in a different way. These are your pictures. We only had in the archive one picture of Lassie. That was the only bit of evidence that Lassie had any connection to Pancho Barnes and her Happy Bottom Riding Club.
Laddie, say hi.
Finally, after 9 years, I was able to locate Bob Weatherwax, the trainer and owner of the generations of Lassie. And when I talked to him on the phone, he said, I have wonderful memories of being at Pancho's ranch as a boy, and he said, my dream has always been to go back there and walk on the ranch and just remember all the wonderful times that I had there.
Laddie, what do you think about this stuff? Hey. I came here as a child with my father because he flew, and I have great memories of this place. For the animals, for Pancho Barnes, it was great for children.
Here was the hotel.
Yes.
I first visited Pancho's in 1991.
I remember.
And since then, the desert is reclaiming her ranch. Although the fountain is still there, and that seems to be in good shape, her swimming pool, which was kind of the center of the universe when the ranch was up and running, is still there.
Then there's the pool.
And I think that'll be there for many more years to come.
I remember the pool and relationship had to be close to this because that's where you went. That's how they anointed you here. That's how they indoctrinated you.
I often wondered
and the
about
pilots went in with their, they threw them in, new pilots and stuff, and they had their jackets on. When you came to Pancho's, sometimes they were indoctrinated by being thrown into the pool with their clothes and everything on.
She served a steak dinner to every guy who broke the sound barrier, and during the late 40s and early 50s, she was serving a lot of steaks.
Don't let that get out. I don't want my club to have to do that.
I just remember people being fully dressed thrown into the swimming pool. It was some type of whatever it was.
Well, you're normally after your first solo flight at pilot training, you get dunked in a tub of water.
That was the deal. That must have been what they were up to, because we could do anything we wanted to as children. Not that we did anything wrong or got in any mischiefs, but it was just a free place you could walk around. As a child, I spent most of my time out with the animals. She had horses, she had all kinds of stuff.
The horse pastures were back here.
And everything was there for you. I mean, it was our own little park.
The rodeo, do you remember the rodeo?
That's it, because that's what my father did. We'd go out there when he performed with Lassie. My father performed with Lassie, and he would take Lassie out to where she had her rodeos. I remember as a kid, he would use me as one of the props. The dog would pick you up by the arm and bring you back, and I would be the one that did that.
Well, Rudd Weatherwax was the owner of Lassie. Lassie was the fourth largest income producer for MGM Studios.
Starring June Lockhart.
And Bob's whole life revolved around the dogs.
And, of course, Lassie.
Training Lassie, caring for 44 dogs that his family trained and employed in the motion picture industry.
No, my father, he didn't hire his help, he raised it.
For a young boy, this must have been a pretty fun place.
Oh, absolutely, and it was an escape from getting out away from, because I was my father's kennel boy. I took care of 44 dogs.
Since Bob worked and went to school as a young boy, the only time that he really had a vacation and enjoyed complete freedom is when his father would drive him out here on the weekends to Pancho's.
It was a place nobody bothered you.
Yeah.
You didn't have anybody around telling you anything or watching what you were doing. You just did it.
Yeah.
Completely unsupervised, this is the way I liked it.
Yeah.
My father performed with Lassie, and he would take Lassie out to where she had her rodeos. and we'd do about a 20-minute performance, and I remember that. I think it was more or less for her private people, you know. I don't think she intended to make a lot of money at this. It was just something she did.
If we look straight out there, I don't want to take you out there because it's a little dangerous out that way, but that's the rodeo area.
Well, that's where...
There's the bleachers I was telling you about.
Yes, we'd be over to the side.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And I remember making the walk from someplace like this. It seemed like.
Could have been.
That's where we came from.
Yeah, straight out.
Yeah.
Like I said, those concrete steps were basically her VIP bleachers.
I think I walked through that door there.
Really?
When did your father first meet Pancho? Was that when they were...
But I know the card says 48, and he met her before that. He was talking to her one day, and he said, I want you to see this, and she pulled out her flying license, and it was gold. It was something very special that was given to her. My father came from a ranch in Silver City, New Mexico, of nothing. It was like this, and I think he related to this. Of course, he was into the party end of it. It was a party place. There was people. There was always something going on here. And then we'd go into the bar, and and that was the bar. They all drank a bit, you know, and they had a lot of fun. But I remember the bar, and I remember Pancho, and I remember her standing at the bar, and a lot of men were around her, and she was like holding court, and people listened to her.
Everyone came to Pancho's. She seemed to be the center of fun and flying and all of the wonderful fun things that the Hollywood and the test pilot crowd enjoyed doing back in the 40s and 50s.
I sometimes wish that I'd been an adult at that point in time, but then I'd be dead. So, And did she ever know any of this was going on? I mean, before she passed away, that they were going to do this with a museum?
No.
It's a shame.
Her history here, you know, she came here in 1935, bought this ranch, put an airport in for her friends to fly out here.
They were some of the greatest pilots, I guess, in the world were there. Like, I didn't realize that as a child the magnitude of any of that, you know. What I was looking at. I was looking at history, and I was looking at the people that made history. And now I look back in retrospect, and it's quite the thing. She was a pioneer in a lot of ways. She helped a lot of people with a lot of things. There was test pilots in those days. Not test pilots, but there were stunt pilots. And for the movies, and they were not being paid anything to fly a plane into a barn, you know, they gave them so. And she was instrumental with Hughes of getting them into a union where they were now paid properly for doing these kind of stunts. She wasn't a stunt pilot, but she did that for other people. My father was so enamored with her too, you know, and you can read that through your parents that she's somebody special, because my father wasn't impressed with that many people. And he was very impressed with Pancho. He just, you know, it meant a lot to him. So therefore it meant a lot to me. And she was something special. What, I didn't know, but I know that she got my attention. What do you think, Laddie, about the whole thing? Speak. I didn't interact with her. Adults and my father interacted with her. I just sat there and listened to her, but she's very dynamic. Her presence was, I paid attention. And I think I kind of went off of my father's respect and how he acted around her. You know, I knew she was a very important person. She loved my father and Lassie. I don't really know why, but she really did. It surely wasn't because of his prowess as an air pilot, because he wasn't.
You walk the grounds and you think who was there: Pancho, Chuck Yeager, Howard Hughes. It was a special time and place that'll never come again. And it's a magical place.